Hello and welcome to the GeoSMART how-to video series. You can find the playlist for this series on the GeoSMART GIS mapping playlist under the City of Casper's YouTube channel. Just head over to YouTube and let's search for City of Casper. And right here we have the City of Casper YouTube channel. And then here under playlists, you can find the GeoSMART GIS mapping playlist, where all the videos for this series will be hosted. Let's head back over to our browser. And another way to get to GeoSMART is simply to get to the City of Casper homepage. And then the link to GeoSMART is in the links on the right. And here we are at the GeoSMART 2.0 data portal. Another way to get to GeoSMART is simply to write geosmart.casper.wy.gov in your browser window, and you can get to it that way as well. Now that we're on the GeoSMART 2.0 data portal, if we come down on our app cards, in the lower left, we'll find the Travel and Transportation web app. Let's click this card to enable the app. And let's wait for the map and layers to render here. And you'll see immediately we are presented with a giant map of the area. This is basically Natrona County. City of Casper is kind of in the center. Lots of colors going on. What do all these mean? The Travel and Transportation web app has within it atmospheric conditions, layers for atmospheric conditions, as well as roadway conditions and surface conditions for our transportation network. In addition to that, we have symbols for road construction and other alerts and closures and things that might be interesting or useful for you as you plan your travel for the day. First off, we see a lot of color going on here, and what does this mean? We can click the map and get some information about what feature is beneath that mouse click. And in this case, we have the National Weather Service's service for weather watches and warnings. In this case, we can see that we have an HW, which means high wind, for our phenomena field. If we come down here, you get a little bit more of a description in this high wind warning. You can tell the issuance date for this warning and when it is expected to expire. This more info link will take us to the National Weather Service page where we can get some more information about this event. We can get the what. This is high winds 30 to 45 miles per hour with gusts to 70 miles per hour. And the where, Natrona County lower elevations in this case. And when will this expire? Up until 8 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday. And our impacts are listed here. Damaging winds, travel could be difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles. So you can see how this can be useful for you if you are planning to go out and what kind of conditions you can expect when you get out there. Let's zoom in a little close here. And we can see some dramatic colorings going on the roadways. I-25 and Wyoming Boulevard, the West Belt Loop. And this color is telling us something that's going on in that area. So we can come down and see those on our legend in our conditions area. The line colors will tell something about the surface, and then the banding around the line tells us something about the atmospheric conditions. Again, we can click each one of these features and get that information directly in a pop-up. And here we can read some more information about what might be going on in that area at the time. And these are current events. These come up and change as conditions change. Zoom in a little bit closer. We see some symbols that are out here as other layers become visible at this scale. We see this exclamation point symbol. If we click on that, that is from our alerts and closures data. And so what this is telling us here that it is false as closed. So this road is not closed. It is simply giving you an alert of something going on in this area. So we can read some more about the message here, that there is road damage and that southbound lanes may be blocked, and that we're down to maybe a single lane with a width restriction near about this mile marker, milepost 188.5. You'll see that an additional layer has become visible here with some dramatic coloring going on some roadways. And this is telling us what our snow routes are for the area. And this can be important when we have dramatic snowfall. At those points in time, it can be really smart to travel down the roadways that are getting plowed. So we can go down 15th and plan our route down some roadways where plowing is occurring so we can get to our destination. Up here in the kind of by I-25 here, we can see that there's a construction symbol, and this is, of course, for the bridge over Walsh that is being rebuilt. Let's cycle through our pop-ups here to get to our construction project one, and you can see that it is selected because it's got the illuminated box surrounding that symbol at this point. If we went out, we can see that now we have selected the watches and warnings, which is that giant polygon that's covering the region. Get back to our construction pop-up here, and we can tell that here we've got a WYDOT contact if we had any questions or we saw something going on that would be of interest to the contact. And then we'll also see what the description of the project might be and what the projected completion date is. Okay. Let's go into our layers list and see what other types of layers are available on this app. Here, some of the layers deal with atmospheric conditions. Some are seasonal in nature. As you can see with our USA wildfire current incidents and current perimeters. Thank goodness that this is seasonal at the moment and that these layers have been turned off and are not immediately active when you access the web app. But we can look in here and, of course, use the tiny triangle next to the layer name to find out more about the symbology and what is included in this layer. Further down, we have the NOAA METAR weather station, which tells us wind speeds. So if we come out, we can find one of those wind speed arrows. Casper-Natrona Airport has a sensor. So we've got a wind speed indicator out there. It looks like it might be this 62 kilometers per hour. It's a strong breeze. Okay, coming down on our other layers here, we have a WYDOT road layer, which is simply the center line. We have a smoke forecast. Again, normally a seasonal forecast. However, you will see when we turn that on that layer is available here, and then we can click the map to get a pop-up with that smoke forecast. So good news is that our concentration levels will be really low, and so we can determine what our outside activities might be with this level. And it'll also tell us how smoke levels, when they're above a certain range, makes it unhealthy for sensitive people to be out in the atmosphere. So that can be useful. Continuing down, we've got other potentially useful features. This is our addressing data set, so we can get address points off of the map. They're turned off at the moment, and you can also see that they're gray, so even if we turn them on, they wouldn't be available now because the map scale is such that we turn those off because it would be just overwhelming if we had address points on for all of our addresses when we're zoomed far out. So here, as we get closer, we can see those address points, and of course, click on those points and you can get some information off that address. Very, very similar tools to the introductory video where I went over all the tools that are available in GeoSMART, so you can do similar things here. We can search for addresses and things like that. Going down further, You can still do things like turn on and off layers. You can use the ellipses menu to change transparency of data. Set the visibility range yourself. You can change that zoom level when that layer becomes active or inactive. Move the layer up and down. So many things you can do and to personalize your experience in the map at any time. We also have the Casper bus routes, so you can turn those on. If you remember from the second video, that oftentimes I'll come and turn all those layers off and then come back to the layers list to turn the layer that I was interested in back on. Of course, we can move these menus out of the way so we can better see the object of our interest there. Furthermore, we have some regional transportation information. This information pertains to traffic control and some potentially helpful information if you were wondering about the condition of roadways. And here you can see in our pavement assessment, a study was conducted for pavement to assess the quality of the pavement. And so we've got some areas that need to be looked at, and you can see that information here. Again, if there's a pop-up that you'd like to have on, you can use the ellipses menu to enable pop-up on that feature, and then we can get some information off of that pavement assessment. Okay? And close things up, we can go, of course, use the navigation tools here to bring us back to the original view of the map, and then come through and turn features back on. Nexrad Radar, it's the base reflectivity index. What it is a network of Doppler radar, and they take a measurement of the level of precipitation that's present in the atmosphere at any time. And what the result is a readout of what reflectivity that precipitation has. And it is a logarithmic scale, and it can get into the negatives. But basically, if you get the more positive number means more reflectivity, more precipitation is potentially present at that time in that area. From 20 is like a light rain, and then on into the 60s is where you potentially get your hail and things like that. So that can be really important. If we zoom way out here, we'll be able to see some of that layer present over top of Idaho and Utah at the moment. So this can be really helpful to see, and you'll see that progress. Usually it's from the northwest to the southeast. You'll see this band of radar and these precipitation events come across our area. So this can be pretty helpful to see where our current conditions are. In addition to providing general conditions, the Travel and Transportation web app is a great resource to access prior to beginning travel, as it gives us a good heads up about what conditions we might face while we're planning our travel path to work or leisure, or when preparing to go out for outdoor recreation. The information presented in this app may even help us to determine alternative routes in the case of construction or road conditions occurring along our normal paths of travel. Or this information could help us to decide for or against travel should conditions warrant. And most certainly, having the extra information about current travel conditions will help our travel plans be successful so that we arrive at our destination safely. Continuing on from yesterday's video, I wanted to give a quick update, especially in the winter months. We know that weather conditions can change abruptly and quickly, and they do so quite often. Let's reload the Travel and Transportation web app and see how conditions have changed. And we can see that we've got some information out there that looks like a little different than yesterday. If we click on our area, denoting our weather area, we can see that our watches and warnings have changed from the high wind event to now we have a special weather statement. And let's look at the more info link where we can find from the National Weather Service information about this weather issue. So that's some good key information that we can get out there before we go and start travel. We'll understand what the conditions are. Thank you for viewing this installment of the GeoSMART how-to video series. Be sure to go to the City of Casper's YouTube channel to like and subscribe so that you can be alerted the next time that content is added to the channel. Thanks and have a great day.